Welcome everybody to the Phenom Hoops podcast here. I'm your host Patrick O'Brien here with Jamie, Rip, and Jeff here. We're back again talking about some different discussions we want to talk about this week.
Guys got it? So I hard work on three, sprint to the next spot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hard work. Sprint to the next spot. Don't walk. Get there.
Season there. Looking past the 2021 rankings. Now let's look at the 2022 rankings. We just released our rankings there. We also put a nice article with comments out talking about top 5. Right now it'd be Jaden Bradley, MJ Rice, Jaylen Rice, Patrick Wessler, and DJ Nix.
And also, those top 3 can be the same thing be said about those 3 as we did the other 5 in the 2021 class. You can mix those up in a hat and draw one out of the hat. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Those 3, I think, are almost tied to be the number 1 choice in North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, you can like something about them, all 3 of those there. But let's get y'all's thoughts here. Rick, I'll start with you. We'll talk about Jaden Bradley or MJ Rice or anything, because like you said, you can kind of mix them up there. But what do you like about these top 5 guys that we just ranked in our 2022 classes?
I think all 3 of them have a lot of poise and maturity.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Jaden Phenom, I think when you look at him, he's just class on the court. He's one of my favorite players, not because of a basketball player, but I got to know him more personally as a person. But just the way he conducts himself, he's very, very humble. But I would say that is true with all 3 of them. All 3 of them are not big social media guys. You know, they're very humble for the success that they've had.
Yeah.
I think that's very impressive.
Yeah. What do you like?
MJ Rice for me is somebody who I think of the group is the most physically dominant player right now.
Yeah.
I think he's the one that would go on to and affect the game. I've seen him affect the game at a high level, especially on the high school thing with Durham Academy, and then
he can take over
playing 17U with Team Wall and all that kind of stuff. He's a guy who's got a college-ready frame. He's got elite level explosion. Strong length, and he can initiate offense and score the ball as well. So he can initiate, he can bring it up, he can do get people in the sets. He can also score the ball, create it off the bounce, get downhill, and finish at the rim. His shot has gotten a lot better. He's knocking down jump shots pretty regularly now. Off the bounce, and he's just a physical specimen. And he plays with a chip on his shoulder that I want you to know that I'm better than you type of thing. And the other guys, Phenom, probably the most exciting thing or the most impressive thing about him is his poise and his positional size. I mean, he's a legit point guard and he's legit 6'4". Mm-hmm. He has that, but he also has poise way beyond his years. Yeah. With his ability to not get sped up, kind of like we were talking about Carter Witt, to not get sped up, to make the right play, to even if the other team's going on a run, to calm everybody down, and everybody looks at him and is like, okay, so we got this. Yeah. So him going to Combine, him playing year-round now with Jeff McGinnis, Jeff McGinnis has done an unbelievable job with guards, developing guards at the highest level, going back to Tyshawn Alexander, Devon Dotson, even, the Keyshawn Woods, James Demery. He's just got a great track record with high-level guards, and Pheno's next in line, and he'll bring that fire out in Phenom, I believe, as well moving forward. But his poise and his positional size, I think, are just what really sets him.
Yeah, I agree with Jaylen Phenom there. Just such a nice kid, humble, like you said there. But I remember watching with you there, Top 100 with MJ Rice. Mm-hmm. I mean, his frame, and this is against kids that are older, much older than him. Already committed to some of these high major schools. And we're like, wow, this kid. Physically, he can be with any of these guys. Yeah, I mean, it is impressive. And he only got a few minutes in that time, but when he did, he displayed what he can do.
Yeah, he came down.
Yeah, and he like you said, he has that mindset of like, I'm going to attack you and I'm going to show you I can take you, even no matter what class you're in or anything. What do you think about some of those guys there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked extensively about these guys. It's a preference thing, and I think that's what it always goes back to. Bradley's probably the number 1 guy right now. He's the consummate floor general. Everybody's on board with him, both physically and in terms of skill. He just plays with an electric type of thing. He kind of has a similar, like Jalen Curry has right now. I think of them in the same sense of electric. Jaylen Rice the smoothest guard. As you kind of alluded to, his feel and his advanced maturity has been evident since he was a 7th grader playing at our high school camps. I mean, he was more poised and mature than seniors or unsigned seniors at the time, and he's kind of built on that foundation since. He's improved mightily as a defender over the last year and a half and as a scorer. So I really think the sky's the limit for him. I don't know how other folks don't think he's a definite Team USA type of kid. I think he's at least that good. And then obviously Rice is the most physical of the group as a rebounder and defender and motor, physical, all around player. He can do anything on the floor. But the way, as you kind of said, that he's shored up his offensive game, shown that he can handle the ball as a primary creator, can create for himself and others, has improved as a jump shooter. He's another guy that I feel like people should just be buying heavy on.
The 2 turning points for me with both of these kids, for me, was watching Jaylen Rice. This is for Fhenom and
Right.
Rice. Fhenom, watching him in the 16U with Team Charlotte, was his aggressiveness to score the ball with that team.
I agree.
Like they needed him to score the ball because he was the best player. He was able to go get 20 points every time playing with him, and that's a new aggression that we necessarily hadn't seen in the past. He was okay with running the team, doing all that, but his ability for that U16 team with Team Charlotte playing up in age group to take over and dominate and go at some kids' necks.
Yeah.
That really, and then
he's kind of evolved from like a game manager to like just a.
And then for MJ Rice, it was the way he attacked the top 80 and the Super 60 this year. He came in the top 80 and Super 60 and just came in with a purpose, and he came in and absolutely wrecked everybody in both camps. Every court he was on, he was dunking on you. He was shooting threes. He said, "Give me the dang on ball. I'm going to do this." Initiating offense and everything. It was awesome the way to see that he attacked both of those, and the way that he attacked both of those 2 events, the way he played in them, it's kind of a turning point for me to say, yeah, this kid's built a little bit different.
Well, with Hutch Fhenom, I think he accepts whatever role he's given. Mm-hmm. If he's on a team where he needs to be the facilitator, be the floor general, he assumes that role and accepts it.
Yes.
If he needs to be on the team and he needs to be the scorer, he can assume that role too.
Yeah.
Now with Bradley, I think he reminds me of a Chris Paul type game. I'm not saying he's a Chris Paul. I'm saying his game on the court sort of reminds me of a Chris Paul.
I got you. Okay. What about Patrick Wessler here? That's a name that I feel like not a lot of people know quite a lot about right now, but we've seen him a few times at our events, and now sitting at number 4 in our rankings. What have you seen from him, the big man?
Well, probably a lot of people will look at the rankings and probably say, "Who's that?" That's probably the biggest one that most people will. They don't know anything about him, but he's 6'11". He's a lefty. He's a softball. He has a tremendous touch. He can post up on the inside. He's very, very crafty. He can go over either shoulder, right or left. He can step out, hit the mid-range jumper. He can hit perimeter shots from the perimeter, from the three-point line. The thing that he's really, really good is at the pick and roll. He does a phenomenal job setting the pick, rolling correctly to the basket, and he is also good in a pick and pop situation. But has great hands, and it's just hard to teach 6'11". When you're 6'11", you got great hands, you got good footwork, you're fundamentally sound, you're high IQ. It's hard not to bet on someone like that.
Yeah.
For me, he reminds me of somebody who's in the mid-90s, Jason Collier. He started off at Indiana, ended up going to Georgia Tech. But he's kind of that 7-foot lefty who's very, very skilled, as Rick alluded to. But his skill set aside, what really impressed me about him is his toughness. Like he's a tough kid. Like he goes in and battles. He wants contact. He'll dive on the floor for the loose ball, and he'll go do that. And usually a lot of kids, and he's still growing into his body. He's still a young, 7-foot kid. But a lot of kids don't necessarily have that type of toughness and acumen at that age, at that size. But he does. Just like Rick said, it's hard not to bet against a tough, skilled 6'11" kid who's only a rising sophomore.
He will have to get more athletic. I think that's the biggest challenge for him moving forward and that will come. Big men develop later. The thing with Wessler is he already has a skill set.
Yeah.
Now he just has to really work on the other things, such as toning up his body, working on his athleticism,
Yeah,
lateral quickness, and things such as that. But all the other things he has,
Yeah.
all the intangibles.
Well, once he came to our team camps, he came to both of our June team camps. So they played 17, 18 games at our team camp, and he averaged 20 and 12 in those team camps on the varsity level, playing against the high level teams. You know,
Yeah.
like the Henderson Collegians, Moravian Preps, and all those Northwood Temples, Village Christians of the world. Really good teams who are going to be vying for state championships. And Moravian's Prep putting 12 kids Division I this year. He averaged 20 and 12 and went up against everybody. Blocked shots. He showed no fear. He scored how he wanted to. Both was back to the basket in the pick and pop, mid range from three, trail three. You know, and he's only going to get better. So I think the floor with him is really high, but I also think he's only going to get better and better. It's super exciting to see.
And the other thing that's impressive about him, when he scored 20 points, when you're watching the game, you really don't know that he scored 20 points because it's not all at one point. It's always within the framework of the offense. And then at the end of the game, you go, wow, he had 20 points. But it's really subtle during the course of the game. He does it with putbacks, free throws, pick and pop, threes, all over the court.
Yeah.
He could even put on the floor for a couple of bounces too to get to his spots in the mid range.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you guys have pretty much summed it up about Wessler, but I do think it's really benefited him, and I think it's been an equal partnership with him and Jordan McFadder because playing with a guy that's smart and always looking to get others involved, it's really benefited him. You know, you spoke about the two-man game. Well, it helps. It certainly helps that McFadder's the one delivering those passes. I mean, one of the sharpest, craftiest guys, in the state. And then how many point guards do we see that can't throw an entry pass to the post nowadays? And so I mean, I really think that's a great, marriage between the two of them.
Yeah. What do you think about, lastly on our list, DJ Nix there?
I mean, a great blend of strength, power, and just athleticism. He has great motor. Great physical tools. He has a college-ready body right now. It's just about sharpening up the skill set for him. I mean, if he continues to expand his skill set offensively, i.e., developing a reliable three-point shot, because he's already able to attack the basket quite well, and he's a switchable defender.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see because I think he's another guy that has plenty of upside, and is going to be on the stage to certainly do it with Jaden Bradley.
Yeah. What do you all think about DJ? Just kind of wrap up our top five there.
Motor. Tremendous motor. I call him my blue-collar worker. I mean, he's going to do all the dirty things that don't always show up in the box score. But I really do think this year he could average a double-double for Cannon.
Certainly.
But he's just one of these guys that's going to give you hustle points. Doesn't matter how he scores, he will score, find a way to score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think his motor is kind of really what his biggest attribute is. I think as he progresses forward, as he finds a little more positional identity, I think that'll kind of help him for, what he is, what he projects as, and all that kind of stuff. But I think his motor, his strength, his athleticism, all that stuff gets him in the game right now and allows him to produce kind of, at his age.
Yeah. Going back, like what we did with the 2021 class there. Some guys that maybe need that took a big leap in a ranking, or maybe people need to start watching for. I'll start with you, Jeff. Here, who's that one guy that you're kind of looking at in that 2022 rankings there?
Well, I'm going to go to number 11, Avion Pinter. We got a brief look at him this summer. I think they came to two different events, and you said he was out. I think all of last year with an injury. He's back on the court. I don't know what he looked like before this, but he looks pretty freaking good. Skilled with size. As a 2022, 6'6", able to handle the ball, be a primary creator. Has two-way versatility and upside still, plenty of upside. Shoots the ball really well, but also has the ability to, reliably set up his teammates. Just starting to scratch the surface.
Yeah. Rick, what about you? Who's that guy that you're kind of looking at who took that leap, or someone to watch in the 2022 rankings?
6'7", Jeremy Gregory, North Mecklenburg. I think a lot of you guys are sleeping on him just a tad, but he's a legit 6'7". He has a 7-foot wingspan, has a size 18 shoe. He's toned down his body over the summer. I think he's lost about 20 pounds. Great hands. There's may not be a better player in the 2022 class that has better hands than Jeremy Gregory. Everything that comes his way, he catches. I think the thing for him is he has a good touch, he has a good shooting touch. I think it's just a matter of getting used to that high school game.
Yeah.
But I think he's the one player that he's going to surprise everybody by the end of the year for North Mac. I think he's their sleeper player,
Yeah.
and they got a loaded roster.
Yeah, you've talked about him quite a few times. So
I like
people are
Jeremy
going to start to.
I like
recognize
him
a little bit
Gregory.
more.
I like him. Hey, when you're 6'7" and with a 7-foot wingspan, and you have great hands, and you can rebound like he does, and he does do a good job of scoring in the paint. He's very crafty too.
Yeah.
He's not above the rim guy, but he is very crafty in the paint.
Yeah. Jamie, who you
So
got?
it's funny that he said Jeremy Gregory, because look at here in years past, we kind of had it in the Charlotte area too, with two guys who had similar builds and frames and stuff that people kind of compared to one of BJ Mack and DJ Burns recently in years past. Kind of they were looking at how they progressed through middle school on up, and to see who the better person was. This one for me here, I was gonna say Elijah Gray was my person, who's at Carmel Christian right now. 6'6", 6'7" forward. I think that he projects very similar to Jeremy Gregory, because they have kind of the same body type, same frames, same all that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be interesting. They might not end up at the level that BJ Mack and all them did. They might. I don't know, but I think that it's going to be interesting to see them moving forward. Both being from Charlotte, they both were at Carmel Christian last year. As how they project player wise. I thought Elijah had an unbelievable summer. He played up with Synergy Elite. It came to a lot of our events. I think his ball skills, his length, his ability to face up and shoot the ball, rebound, strong. He's kind of got a full arsenal. At 6'6", 6'7", he's long. He's
Strong.
He's very strong framed, and he's noticeably slimmed down. Over the past year and stuff, he had a little bit of fluff to him. You can see he's tightening things up with his body and everything now. I think it'll be very interesting with Elijah Gray, because I think right now he's a mismatch. He's a matchup issue. Moving forward, it'll be determined by his lateral quickness, who can he defend at that level, or how big he gets. I mean, if he gets to be 6'8", 6'9", it changes things up a little bit. But who can he defend? But I think offensively, I think Elijah Gray, and he's a good defender now. Don't get me wrong, he's a good defender now. He understands team defense concepts and help defense and all that kind of stuff too. But offensively, Elijah Gray is a matchup issue, and I really kind of like mismatch kind of guys in that thing. But he's one who I think took a huge jump. I don't even know if we had him ranked. If we did, it was a little bit lower. But he jumped into the top 20 at least, and might even jump a little bit higher after that, depending on how he continues to progress. But his summer was a great summer, I thought.
Yeah, so there's a 3 names to really watch for this coming year, and that kind of rounds up our 2022 rankings here.